Welcome to Louis' Restaurant, where you can sit and chat with foes alike. No need to worry about any attacks, so leave your gun and take a cannoli while we all chat on this week's episode on Precision Capos. Here with me today is CJ. CJ, would you like to say hi to everybody?
Hello everyone, how's it going? Um, we're going to do another video for you today, and we're going to be talking about our favourite capos.
Awesome, awesome. I am Frigg, and we decided to talk about Precision Capos today because CJ and I both run a guns line. And I will go ahead and preface this that my guns line is not as good as CJ's. He's got this one pretty nailed down. Um, and so when I started my guns line about a year ago, I made the mistake of thinking Owen and Michelle and Luca would be a great setup for a guns line. And it was probably about 6 months or so ago that I learned that they're probably not the best capos to be using for guns. And I ended up switching two out of those three. And so, CJ, help me and the rest of us understand why Owens and Michelle and Luca are not the best capos for your guns line. Who would you recommend?
Well, I've never actually used Michelle for guns. That's a new one. That's a new one for me. But like everyone else, I used the typical three. So I started off with Owen, Luciano, and Luca. Those were, at the time, for me, and starting off in the game, Owen was easy to get, and the other two just made sense because of the buffs they brought for being all together. So that was my main focus at the start. And then, like yourself, you slowly start to, look into other options, look into other capos and see what they bring. Eventually, I've come across Fabrizio or Fabrizio, whatever you want to call him. And then really looking at his stats and what he brought to the table compared to what Owen brought to the table, it was a bit of a no-brainer, really.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna trash Owen too much, but he's not really the capo you want to keep forever. He's good for his 5-star skill. I mean, that could bring a little buff to the table, I guess. But he doesn't do much compared to Fabrizio.
For sure. I think he's a good starter capo, and he's definitely one that you get at the beginning. But as you move along in your play, you want some better capos to have a better, stronger force, I believe.
Yeah.
So speaking
Yeah,
of the attributes that you were talking about with Owen, what did these capos, you mentioned Luca and Fabrizio and Luciano, what do those capos bring to the table?
Well, I mean, a lot of people, they can look for themselves, and you can kind of figure it out along the way. Luca is more of a precision-based capo, which means, obviously, the title of the name is Precision Capo. He is more worked around the point system. So, for example, it says on his 1 to 4-star, or even his 5-star actually, per precision, I think it's 200 precision points or something along them lines, he increases by 1%. So that being said, you need him upgraded high tiers to make him really effective. For PvP, he isn't really great at the start, You know, 1 star isn't going to bring too much for you. He's going to be okay-ish on the block, you know, doing PvE. He's going to bring a little attack bonus for you. But as you work him up through the tiers, you know, you're going to get extra defense, you're going to get extra attack during a cob. That's a big one as well, 3-star. But this is where you really want to have him higher tiered. And when I say higher tier, I mean, you know, you've got him orange and he's like 4-star or diamond. That's what I mean by tier. That's when he starts to become a lot more effective, because obviously your precision's maxed out then, like for your attributes, and that is what you need for Luca at least. And that's when your percentages are going to increase, you know. So for a baseline maxed out Luca, you're going to get around, you know, 24% roughly for attacking during a cob. So it's 3-star buff. You're going to get around 24% increase against assassins in PvP. Unfortunately, it's only against assassins for Luca, but that's why we incorporate these other capos to bring a little bit more to the table. But yeah, his 5-star ability is okay. You know, his mortality rate increase again. It's all precision based. You know, so you're going to want to work mainly on your precision items. Another big thing which I'll mention, this just popped into my head. A lot of players don't actually, they don't understand. They think because it's a daily task for you to enhance your capo items, that you should be doing it on the regular and on the daily. Now, I'm going to say something that will save a lot of people a lot of time. You don't have to do it at all. If you're happy with the capo where he is and you're not looking to enhance him through the tiers or diamond stages to get him to maximum, then that's fine. Then I do suggest that you enhance your capo items. But once you click enhance and you bring him to the next tier, he's going to lose all those buffs that you've enhanced from your items. You won't carry anything over. So it's always best to save it. Save all the screws. Save your laundered cash, because if not, it will end up going to waste.
Yeah, for sure.
I love Luca. I do love Luca for his book as well. That's a really nice reward bonus that he brings at the end of his book. Sent into battle. I think that was the first one I had maxed out, because it just makes it increases all of the abilities that he brings, which, you know, is just going to make you a harder target to beat.
Yeah, for sure. I was actually just looking at his talent bonus and his reward bonus. His reward bonus that you were just mentioning, it says all the effects of his sent into battle talents are additionally improved by 40%. Max is 100%. So that is definitely a very nice bonus that he has.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, it brings quite a fair bit to the table, but in the future, you know, with all these new capos that are coming out and these new books that are coming out, he could be replaceable, you know, but for the moment, I will be keeping Luca. So for the players that are out there trying to build guns, I would suggest make sure you get Luca. He will bring a lot to your force, Um, and then later on down the line, when these new books come out, then maybe looking to, focus on a different area, another capo, or yeah.
That's interesting that you're already saying before we even really get started with these capos that Luca right off the bat is one that you're going to keep in your lineup. And I, on the other hand, I look as Luca as a temporary placeholder. Um, and that
He
may be my
is.
downfall.
You
Who
are
knows?
right. No, I don't think you're wrong.
For me,
You're not wrong at all.
yeah. For
Sorry,
me,
I
I
didn't mean
think
to
there are
interrupt
so many more
you.
options out there that are better and probably more well-rounded in what they bring to your guns line than what Luca does. But I do feel like he is a better alternative to Owen. So he's like you said, you utilized him from the beginning, whereas I went a different route. So I'm a little catch-up work on him, but he's definitely a good quote starter capo, if you were to call it that. Nice placeholder
Yeah,
for your guns line.
yeah, 100%. I mean, I was more at the time when I first started really looking into guns and building into guns. I looked at it very simple-minded. You know, I looked at obviously Owen was one of the first capos you get. You start on any server. He's one of the ones you will unlock very quickly. Same with Giuseppe. But I started looking into the other capos after that, after I decided I wanted to choose guns. And Luciano was one of them that really made me think like, oh, this is the force I wanna do. Because, in his uh, talents, he says things like, have Owen with Luciano increases your HP, but if they're together, it's doubled. So that was the big thing that really brought me to making them free together.
Mm-hmm.
I still think they're really good. I mean, I know some players that still run that setup, and they still do a hell of a lot of damage to people.
Mm-hmm.
They're not bad, It's not a bad combo, but obviously as time goes on, you're going to want to look into substituting. Um, but what I really like about the Luciano, which really drawed me into having all three of them together, was his book. And obviously it's the HP and the attack of having all three of them together. Because it's doubled. So you get at 3-star, you're getting 15%. With Owen, you're at 30%. It's a bit of it was a no-brainer for me at the time, and it made me really
Yeah.
strong in the early stages. And then obviously the attack side of it, having Luca in there as well, doubles, that's 30% attack. That's better than most buffs that you can put on. So that, for me, I just didn't think twice. I just went straight for it. And then it was book, like I was trying to say. His what is it called? The last one, the bonus that he brings, the bonus talent only works when you're having all three of them together,
Yeah.
and that increases the maximum for your cob attack. So that's an extra 40% in cobs, which at the time, obviously, everyone was struggling to do elites. So for me, that gave me the edge above everyone else to actually push further and get a lot more done with them three together in the early stages of the game.
Yeah, for sure. And like it's good that you highlighted the fact that his reward bonus is associated with cobs. I know our first episode we talked a lot about FCL and cobs and cob makeups and stuff in regards to that. So that's, for any of people out there that are putting together cobs that are not your typical driver-based cobs, that's something to keep in mind if you're choosing to look at guns. And a precision-based cob is that those three work well together within a cob. So it would be interesting to see what that holds up or how that holds up in an FCL.
Yeah, I still use them in FCL, even though Owen isn't my main go-to anymore. Um, I still do switch them out because sometimes you can get your backup capo can get deep wounded, and
Mm-hmm.
everyone's going to lose a fight from time to time. You can't help it. And then you've got a backup. You've got Owen there to then increase your cop force if you can keep all three of them together. So he's always nice to have as a backup, really. You never know when you're going to need him. And if you're not the main cop starter, it's not a bad idea to keep him in there. It just gives you extra attack. Unless, you're looking into the capo that I'm using now,
Mm-hmm.
then you haven't really got to worry too much about getting the extra attack from Owen, because you're already getting from this capo. Now, obviously, I've substituted out Owen, and I'm now using Fabrizio.
Yes,
And
Fabrizio.
he just brings a crazy amount of attack to your force. Just a crazy amount. Yeah, just looking at his stats, it does help quite a lot if you can get the fights over within 2 rounds. You recover pretty much all of your troops that are dead or going to be wounded. So that is a massive help, especially if you're struggling for troops or you're trying to keep your more expensive troops. If you get mercenaries, you don't really want to use them or lose them. Sorry. Then you've got Fabrizio. If you know you're going to win the fight very easily, but you still don't want to lose the troops,
Mm-hmm.
I'd suggest using Fabrizio because he will save them troops. Obviously, Tessio's a good one as well to use alongside, not in your force, but as a skill in your hotel to save your troops, obviously. But yeah, Fabrizio will bring a lot to your force.
So I've been a little obsessed with Fabrizio for the last couple of months. I have not yet gotten him to the point where I can awaken him yet, but that is the portion of Fabrizio that I really enjoy is his awakening says when his force is fighting bombers and drive-bys, this will reduce their hit rate by 10%, including Cobb. So
Yeah,
that was like the enticing thing for me.
yeah, it's massive, and I mean, Fabrizio isn't just a gun-based capo. Obviously, you look at his. I mean, the only thing in his book that suggests he is gun capo is accuracy to massacres. You know, um,
Hmm.
but everything else, he can be used for bombs. He can be used for drivers. He can be used for anything. Obviously, we use him for guns,
Yeah,
and he's quite successful in that. But yeah, he's a great capo to have around.
that's a good point that he can be used for other things outside of a guns-based force. You need stuff that is versatile.
Yeah, oh, exactly. Yeah, I mean, the only thing he does bring to guns is the fact that he's precision based, so it's very easy for your imprint. You haven't got to worry too much about chopping and changing your imprints around and making it work.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously the book that comes along with him, the massacre accuracy increase. My favourite part is the 3 rounds of increase that he actually brings as well from his book. That does a crazy amount. That does a fucking lot. I just saw there. But that brings a lot of damage for 2 rounds, not 3. But if you get lucky within those 2 rounds of fighting with him, you know, and you don't get your massacres stunned, then you're going to be doing a lot of damage to whatever's in front of you. You know,
Mm-hmm.
whatever you hit is going to hurt. I used to fight with this force against bomb forces in the early stages of the game before there was a lot of dodge going on. This is when people were just using straight up bomb forces, and it still did quite a lot of damage to them. Then obviously once dodge, everyone started cottoning on to dodge, that's when it started to hurt quite a lot. And I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
as successful.
So moving on. So thinking back to uh, earlier this year when I was redoing my capos for my guns line. And I knew that the initial 3 that I wanted to be working on was Luca, Luciano, and Fabrizio. But I also knew that I wanted to add additional capos into the mix so that I can change them out at will for my use. Now, I have not worked on these exclusively yet because I am still working on those first 3 to make sure that I get those maxed out. But the next capo that I would like to be working on is Etor. Etor? I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Please correct me if I'm wrong.
I'm not sure how to pronounce that either. Etori.
Etori. I'll call him Etori.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
So a lot of people kind of, like maybe I did, is kind of ignored him for a while because when you look at um his details on his stars, it doesn't appear that he does much outside of being able to help train troops at 5-star, which is really great. I mean, I won't complain about that at all. But you don't really see much benefit outside of that, unless, of course, you're looking into his specialty skills associated with his book. That's where it gets really interesting, and I believe that's where his true abilities shine. So if we're
Yeah.
looking at the talent boost that he gets, it says his force is battling other players non-cob. There is a 15% chance that button men will increase 21% damage when attacking, max being 40%. So he's bringing that increased damage that we like to see within our troop line.
Yeah, I think he's a underestimated capo, definitely.
For sure. One of
Like
the
you
many
say,
underestimated capos.
yeah, like you say, I did the exact same thing when I looked at Itori, whatever you want to call him. You just look at his talents, you know, and you think, yeah, he only brings a 5-star ability. Really, he doesn't really bring much, you know. I'm going to pass on this one. But it's to people like yourselves, and I'm sure there's a few out there that are listening that have actually looked deeper into it and thought, oh, I'll check out his book. Might as well. That's when you really start to see what he's capable of doing.
For sure. And it is worth noting that his reward bonus is also really good, where it states when his force is battling other players non-cob, the damage will increase 7.5% for the first 3 rounds. So once you get your troop force up really strong and you feel confident about the level of performance that it's doing, definitely add him to the mix because as long as you're killing things within that first 3 rounds, he's doing great work for you.
Yeah, that is one capo I'm working on in the background. There's a few I'm now working on in the background. He's definitely one to consider. I mean, damage is a big thing in this game. It's that big that they've made ornaments to reduce damage, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So he's definitely one you don't want to pass up on. But there's a few like that, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. In fact, the next one that I was thinking about adding to the mix is Kay, which again is one of those underestimated capos because when you first get her, you look at her talent, her, stars, and you're like, she really doesn't bring much to what you're doing. You've got speed up on healing, you've got speed up on training. That's great. Everybody can use those. But when you look beyond her, what we see is that she has the reward bonus and talent bonuses that definitely help your precision line. We've got the talent bonus that says increase the damage of button men in her force by 5% when launching ordinary attacks on other player cities. Increase the effect by 50%. This is a max of 20%. So that's also a really great thing. Again, another one that's increasing damage. So you can combine that with Ettore and Fabrizio, and you've got a really great line there that is increasing your damage, increasing your hit points, and increasing your accuracy.
Yeah, she is a good one. I know one thing that confused a lot of the players when her book was released was the wording of it. I'm pretty sure that confused
Mm-hmm.
quite a lot of people. When it said ordinary attacks, and along them lines. I'm guessing that
Mm-hmm.
just means a normal city attack for the
Yes.
people that are reading it and confused. Yeah.
Yeah, normal city attack, I would say non-cob related attack is what that is referring to.
Yeah. Yeah, we gathered. I've seen a lot of people posting. What does this mean? What does this mean? Is it is it a cob? Because that can be ordinary. But it makes a lot more sense because I've seen so many people confused about the wording of it.
Yeah, the
It's nice
wording
to get
is
it cleared up.
sometimes not great on several things within the game, but and it can definitely be confusing. But um, that is definitely good to see her talent and her reward bonus. And just in case I did not mention that, her reward bonus is when launching attacks on other players' cities, increase the HP of buttonmen in her force by 7.5%. When launching ordinary attacks on other players' cities, increase the effect by 50%. Max on this is 30%. So she's definitely in the mix for me. She's just not being worked on at the moment because I'm still working on, again, the original 3 for mine. But I would love to have her up there and worked on her book and have her being able to be changed in and out on my lineup.
Yeah, she is definitely a good one to keep. Again, for situations like FLC, or FCL. It's late. Words are not going to word. Um, something gets exhausted, and at least you have someone like her as a backup.
For sure.
There's
Yeah.
a few capos you want to keep as a backup. She is definitely one of them that I would bring to the team as well.
It's good to have that versatility within your lineup. It changes things up, first of all, and secondly, your opponents aren't getting used to what you're sending. And I think that's a key part to some more advanced play because if people know exactly what you're sending, then they're prepared for that. But if you are able to change that up, make things harder, then it creates more fun and challenge within the game.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's easy to defend against something if you know it's coming.
Yeah, it really is. Yep.
It is
So
so easy.
I ran across an interesting battle report just last week, and it was a guns line, and I saw some interesting capos in this guns line. And at first, I looked at those capos and I could not understand why they were together. And as I looked more into their books and their awakened skills, I understood it more on what was going on, why they were in, why they were being used within that guns force. So the capos that I'm talking about are Mo and Roth. And I think everybody knows my opinions on Roth. And so for this for this next portion, I would like to say that Roth has his benefits. I still have this whole morality ethical thing associated with him, but he does have some uses.
I think we've all been roughed once or twice before.
Once or twice.
It happens. Or 3 times. Some people don't learn. You know?
I was roughed recently, but luckily my city was still safe, so I am happy with those results. So let's talk about Mo right now. So Mo is a precision capo. He belongs within this group. He just was again overlooked. He is just like the other two in that people looked at him and were like, he just adds an additional force, which by the way is a fantastic thing to have. You want to have as many forces as available, and to be able to get him to 5-star and have that additional force, do it by all means. And so I think once people looked at the 5-star, got him there, they stopped looking. What we're really looking at here for him is his awakened abilities and his talent specialty skills. So his awakened abilities says attack and HP will increase by an additional 10% when attacking the revenge target. And I think that particular part is probably key, the revenge target, because I don't think that that's going to work every single time.
Definitely won't. I mean, if people are already close to losing against you in a city defense, and then all of a sudden, because when you're revenged, I'm pretty sure after you're cobbed, it shows up that you've got this extra buff that comes from Mo as a revenge target. I think it does.
I think
It's
I've
been
seen
a long
it.
time. It's
Yeah.
been a while since I've seen it. But then if you see them, you know, that say they've hidden a force and that comes back, you know, if that comes after you, that's going to hurt. So you want to get out of his way, really.
Yeah.
That can
So
be.
his talent bonus says during the battle, the damage dealt by his force increases by 5% for every 15% of their power lost when attacked. Max on this is 20%. So I thought that was interesting just because it increases the damage. There is the caveat of, you know, how much power they lose. And then if you're also winning a battle in, you know, 1 or 2 rounds, I'm not sure how much that actually helps. So for me, that's a question mark. I think I would rely more on his awakening skill versus his book. But hopefully someone who's actually running Mo and utilizes his book has a little bit more knowledge on this and can help out our viewers understand him a little bit better. Because for me, he's still new in the lineup compared to the other capos that we're talking about today. So to follow him, that the video that I saw on this battle report, it was him and Roth. And I knew who Roth was right off the bat. And I'm like, why the heck is he in this lineup? It did not make any sense to me whatsoever. For a number of reasons. Um, First of all, he's not a precision capo, and second of all, we weren't even supposed to be touching him within this particular um, war at all, and he was just showing up. So it was a giant question mark in my head. But a couple of things that I want to point out in regards to Roth. His awakening skill says increase the damage of his force to assassins and drive-bys by 10%. If Mo Green is also in the force, this effect will be doubled. So this right here is exactly the reason why he was in the force.
That's a crazy stat. That is
Yeah.
a crazy stat. Pairing that with another damaged capo as well.
Yeah.
That can be really messy, especially if you've got that maxed out. If you've got his awakened ability maxed,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to do some serious damage to some drive-bys.
Oh, 100%. Because that part that I just read about 10% and it being doubled, that's on an unawakened Roth. That's not
Yeah.
even, we haven't maxed this out yet, so I have no idea, and I'm sure someone out there does, what it looks like maxed out for his awakened ability. So I'm sure
Yeah.
that's going to be a very interesting combo that comes up in the next few months, and I feel like that's going to be utilized a lot.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting one to see. Hopefully someone can come forward and actually let us know. Because we've asked the devs, and
Mm-hmm.
the response I've got is they're not allowed to reveal. They're not allowed to reveal any stats about capos that we asked for. You've got to learn it yourself, or
Yeah,
you've got to find someone who knows. So that would be really nice to know. I'd like to guess is 30, but
for
then I
sure.
think that's going to be way too overpowered. I don't know. It could be 30. That'd make a lot more sense why they're together.
Yeah, that's a possibility. I mean, I'm also looking at his book because there is his talent specialty skill does provide some benefits to a guns based force where it says increased Buttonman's HP of his force by 7.5%. Max on this is 30%. So he will affect all Buttonmen, not just his group, which are bombers. Um, but his reward bonus is associated just with bombers. So it is also paired with Mo, but again, we're talking about your guns line, your precision line. So for us, this isn't going to work for us. His reward bonus isn't going to work for us, but his talent bonus um, is definitely a benefit with the increased HP.
Oh, massively. Yeah.
So
Oh,
recently, we just had
yeah.
a new update in the game. Let me bring it up real quick so we can announce it in case anybody has missed this. The new update is specialty boost for 6 capos. One of them is Meyer Lansky. And he was not on our list at all until this very reason, until he received his book. We got to
That's been a
looking at him
massive
and we're
eye
trying to
opener.
figure out we were trying to
That's
figure out where he fits within what we would consider our normal lineup. Now, ladies and gentlemen, our normal lineup for me would be Luca, Luciano, Fabrizio, Ettore, and Kay. So, out of those 5, where does he fit in?
now looking at him.
So, looking at his specialty book here, his talent bonus says increase the attack of Buttman in his force by 7.5%. When in PvP battles, increase the effect by 50%. Max is 30%. His reward bonus states increase his force's bomber and massacre damage by 5%. This effect will be doubled in Family Champions League, FCL. Max is 20%. So we got to looking at this, and we're trying to figure out where he fits in, and he seems a little similar to Ittori. Is that what you were thinking, CJ?
Yeah. So when this update happened and when they announced it, um, instantly I was interested after seeing Myers, because I know a lot of people that have used Myers already in a gun force, because of his 5-star ability with Luciano. It brings quite a lot to the table for one hit. You know, he brings what is it, 20% HP, and obviously if they're together, it's going to bring an extra 20% attack. Now that already is still quite good, going along with what else he brings to the table, extra HP, and he's good for an FCL capo as well. And then once his book came out, I thought, right, I've got to look into this straight away. The damage, right, so it's quite a tough one. Now, we touched on this a little bit earlier as well. It is a tough one because with Ittori, whatever we're going to call him, I still can't make my mind up. You know, like, he has the chance of triggering extra damage to the force, but when
Yeah.
you get a capo that comes along like this, and he already brings damage with his awakened skill, bringing in damage to his book as well, which is guaranteed. It is quite an interesting one, and obviously I think people need to start to really consider, do we experiment with this? Like, there needs to be some calculations done to try and figure out,
Oh, for sure.
could he work his way into this, you know?
There's our math geniuses definitely need to get out the math and figure this out.
Yeah, well, I mean, we all do our own calculations, you know, everyone does it a little bit differently. I think, because I sat there for a good couple of hours just looking at him thinking, huh? You know, am I seeing this right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think he could be a contender because he's also bringing to the table FCL, you know, and that's doubling effects.
He is.
I
For
really
sure.
think he is up there now. Now, so one of the capos that was probably, again, overlooked, like Ittori, you know, now his book's out. I think a lot of people are going to start jumping
Yeah.
on this. I would suggest people jumping on it as well, really. I know with his 4-star, he doesn't bring much extra buffs like the other capos do, but dodge is also important. If you're not interested in dodge, you don't have to have him in your hotel, you know?
Who's not interested in dodge?
You have
Who are
some
these
people
people?
out there. Well, I'm one of them sometimes. I just think power. Like, I'm going to hit you and I'm going to hurt you. And, you know, I just pray that I've upgraded Fabrizio enough and my Volt enough and my accuracy that you're not going to dodge me. You know, that's what I
Yeah.
hope
Hit hard
for.
and move on.
Basically, yeah, that is,
Well,
yeah. Yeah, that is me.
yeah. One thing to note for our people that are interested in the stats here, Tori's talent specialty goes up to 40% max, and his reward bonus goes up to 30% max, whereas Myers' talent goes up to 30, and his reward bonus goes up to 20. So it is a slightly lower level max. So there is that to consider. And I wonder if his it balances out because of his awakened adding in damage as well.
Yeah. Again, we need to really sit down and consider it, because it is worth looking into. I mean, I'm at the
Hmm.
point myself where I've been working on all these other capos, but I've had him in the background for quite some time at 4 star. I'm now considering, do I put him in front of everyone else? You know, I'm
If you
not
had to
100%.
replace one of your ones that you were using with him,
Oh,
who would you replace?
oh, I don't know. Um, um, maybe Luciano.
Oh,
Maybe.
poor
Maybe.
Luciana.
I know, but I mean, if I have Myers, if I have his awakened skilled maxed, I'm hoping it's 30%
Hmm.
damage. That would be nice. If it is 30% damage, because damage is better than attack. So I've got Luciano with Luca for this extra attack bonus I'm getting, because it doubles and it's 30%.
Hmm.
I'm already getting a lot of attack from Fabrizio, you
Hmm.
know. So I would make that cut from the attack and increase the damage.
Okay.
Um, I'm not sure what other players think. This is just me, thinking off the top of my head.
Hmm.
But I think that could be a better route, maybe. And then if you want to go for an all-out damage force, this is when you're going to start getting capos to replace Luca. You know.
Yeah.
But again, it all depends on the player. Depends on what you really have available at the time as well. Um, Not a lot of spenders are going to be able to just, or non-spenders, sorry, are going to be able to just throw capos around like they're nothing. It takes a long time
It
to
does,
build
for
up those
sure.
capos. But what about yourself? What do you think about him? Would you consider switching out any capos in your force to bring in?
I was sitting here thinking about it as you were talking about replacing Luciano.
Yeah.
And I think in an ideal world, let's just pretend that all of these capos for me are maxed. I would probably run Ettore, Meyer, and Fabrizio.
hmm That
And
sounds
so
good.
for me,
Yeah.
that gets the HP, that gets the attack and damage, that gets the mock dodge that Fabrizio can bring to the table. Um,
Yeah.
so I think it's the hit hard and dodge everybody combo
Yeah.
for me.
That force would definitely hit hard. Um, that would really hit hard. You got attack and you've got damage. You know, fuck the defense. Gosh, I keep swearing. Forget the defense,
Oh,
forget the
yeah,
HP. Just
yeah,
yeah, hit hard and
yeah.
go home alive. Um,
That's right. Hit hard, go home alive. That's exactly what the mindset is. So now we have our list of capos that we should be working on or have been working on, and we want to make sure that we're pairing the right metals with these capos. And you and I were kind of talking earlier about um, what those metals would look like. So we have
yeah,
down pumpkin, Labor Day, um, Black Dragon, Halloween, and Christmas stocking.
yeah. Now with the Black Dragon, that is it's an orange fragment build. Pretty sure it's the exclusive one.
Yeah.
Um, and you can get a few variations of it. Um, they all kind of, they're all kind of linked together in a way. So the one I would suggest most to look into. Now, again, this all depends on what kind of force you're trying to build. But you get a black dragon with an attack increase. Who doesn't want attack? Hit hard and go home alive. You're gonna get a precision percentage increase, not a precision plus. Because I'm pretty sure the precision plus is like 600 points. Where if you get the precision percentage increase, you're going to get a lot more than 600. Now, if you're adding that to Luca, say Luca's still in the equation, you're going to multiply his points from his abilities. It's just going to make you even stronger. It's a bit of a no-brainer. Even then, if you're not using it for Luca and you're using it for one of your maxed out capos, it can still be good. It can bring a lot to the table. And then at the end, it's got a precision exclusive where it's when attacking a city, your buttermint attack again is increased by 15%. Again, it's going along the lines of hit hard and go home. Like that is literally just what I'm like. So I enjoy medals like that.
For sure.
And
I think the reason why we put these medals on the list is because they were easy for the non-spender to get. All of these, like the Halloween, the stocking, the Labor Day, the pumpkin, are all associated with events that, when done properly, you are able to achieve these medals. The medal, like the Independence Day medal and some of the anniversary medals, you have to purchase with the purple stones within the black market now. They are harder to get. You do have to purchase those stones, and I think they're somewhere around 600 stones, I think. I could be wrong on that number, but it is quite a bit. So Independence Day used to be part of an event. I have not seen that event run in the last 2 years, so I'm not sure that event is ever coming back. So if you ever want that medal, that's where you go and get it. And some of the anniversary medals can be good, and you might want to look into them yourself within the black market. But these that we have on the list should be easily obtainable without having to spend.
Yeah. Now, obviously, this helps quite a lot as well because we've got these new, I can't remember what they're called, mystery gems. Are they called mystery gems? I think they are. You get these from doing events like the talent point events. You get them from doing your your African American collection events. When you're opening the chests, you open a certain amount, you're going to get some stones. That's going to help massively. Non-spenders can benefit still from these events. Just got to make sure you're prepared. Save up loads.
Now, the stone that CJ was just referring to is called the Lucky Gemstone.
That's the one.
And it can be used for purchasing items also within the black market mystery shop.
Yeah. Again, it's good for non-spenders and spenders. It makes it a bit cheaper for you.
For sure. And then the last thing that we want to talk about pairing for your precision force, your gun force, are cars. Making sure that we're putting the right cars into our force to help with our troops during battles. And some of the cars that we talked about for this particular episode are Flames, Diamond, Scepter, Avenger, and Venom. So yeah. I would say as a non-spender, Flames is going to be hard to get. So that is definitely one that you're probably going to have to spend some.
Yeah. Oh no, internet connection.
What did these, CJ, what did these bring to the table for your force?
I think I just lagged out for a minute then. Sorry about that. like what you were saying before you got cut off, unfortunately for me, it just went all robo. All I could hear was, like, you sound like a goat for a moment. Um,
Sorry.
sorry about that. No,
I'm
no, I
sorry.
think it was me. It popped up on my screen, connection issue.
Okay.
That was me. But what I heard was flames. Um,
Yeah, so
flames
the
is hard
cars
to get.
it
Flames is
is.
hard to get. I'm still struggling to get him maxed out, and I'm pretty sure a lot of players are. Even some spenders,
Oh,
apart
for
from
sure.
the crazy spenders, you know, that's a completely different story. Um, but Flames is something to definitely look into, and it's a long-term car. This is something you're going to work towards for end game material as well. I think one of the easiest ones, or the easier ones, is obviously Diamond and Venom.
Mhm.
They're still really good. Venom gives you attack, and a big one from Venom is the accuracy. And obviously, that's massive with all this Vault tech and all these new capos. Dodge is a big thing now.
Mhm.
So having that, I wouldn't say maxed out, but you've got some decent levels pumped into it. That will help out massively in any fight, because it's once obtained, you gain accuracy, which means once you have it, it applies in all areas. So for that reason, I would definitely put Venom on there. He is definitely one to work for.
Yeah, and Diamond offers HP and reduced first round damage, which I think is really
Yeah,
great benefit for any troop force, really.
yeah. I still use Diamond. Um, I still use Diamond on my main force.
Mhm.
Obviously, I would substitute it for Flames when I get there, eventually, once it's
Mhm.
ready, but I'm not ready with Flames yet. So for most players, I would suggest you stick with Diamond. Or if you're really desperate for that extra hit hard and go home, go for Flames if you have it, or
Yeah.
Venom, or anything with an attack increase, like Avenger. That's a
Avenger
good
has attack and increased damage, so that's
Yeah,
also like a great substitute if you don't have flames. You could utilize Avenger for that.
yeah. I think that is another great one.
Mhm. So now that we have covered all of our favorite capos for precision and our guns line, I was wondering, which capo do you most want to wink at you on the sidewalk? And what do you find sexiest about them?
What is that? I was expecting a little bit something more far fetched. Wait, so what capo would I like to? I lost track. Sorry.
What capo do you
Um.
want to wink at you on the sidewalk? And what do you find sexiest about them?
Um. I'd definitely have to go with. I'm just gonna go with K. Keep it simple.
You went
We've been
safe. You chose the girl.
we've been well, yeah. I mean, I'm not homophobic, but I do like. I mean, Kay's kind of cool. I mean, she's got a good fashion sense.
hmm
Um, um,
I have to say, if I have to answer this question, I would totally choose something off this list. I would choose Aiden, and he's very sexy in his cowboy
oh, the
outfit.
cowboy. Oh, I didn't think of the cowboy.
Yes.
No.
I don't know who designed that, but like kudos to them.
Yeah, but Kay's got like a pretty dress.
She does have a pretty dress.
I kind of like
She's very
that.
cute in her dress. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on this episode for Precision Capos. I hope that we were able to cover some areas that you may not knew about or expanded your knowledge on Precision Capos for your own lineup. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below or send us a message. And as always, like and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy hearing what we have to provide to you in these episodes.
Yeah. Thanks for watching, guys. Um, enjoy the rest of your evening, day, night, wherever you are in the world. And hopefully we get to see you next time.
Thank you so much, guys.
Bye bye.